Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, part 4 of the PSA Graded Returns, and today I'm very excited, perhaps a little too excited, to announce that we will finally be finishing the Expedition set that was contained in the 311 card lot. It contained within the 363 card PSA submission, so if that didn't confuse you, good for you. If it did confuse you, leave comments down below and ask me why, because comments are great for the YouTube algorithm. More importantly, this is another PSA Graded Return, so welcome to the channel. If you are new or are just checking out the videos because you've been taking a break, make sure to go check it out. There are 3 at this point other videos associated with this. Basically, I got a huge set of PSA cards, wanted to kind of split them up a little bit so we're not doing too much at any one given time, and this is the result. So yeah, just another video along the way, doing some grade reveals, having some fun. Also, fun fact, all of these cards are up for sale, so if you're interested in any of them, definitely feel free to let me know down below, or feel free to reach out. I have been trying to provide some means of getting communications to me, so that I can, respond and have conversations with you about anything you might be interested in. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Where we last left off, we had another reverse foil Gengar. So here's another one. I'm going to go ahead and guess an 8. Yep, in line with the grade we got last time. The reason for that might have been because I had a plain regular degular one, and then what ended up happening was probably that one was looked at, was like, wow, it's non-holographic, it gets a 9. And then when the reverse foil ones went up, he was like, oh wow, interesting, 8. So here we are. Now normally when they're not prefaced by a non-holo version of the same card, they get a 9. Oh wow, PSA, interesting work there. And here's another Pichu. This is a fun Pokemon because it's one of the first times they say baby Pokemon, so they awkwardly acknowledge this. Realistically, it could have just been a stage, like a regular basic Pokemon, and Pikachu could have been a stage 1 Pokemon, but I feel like at this point they hadn't acknowledged Pikachu as a stage 1 yet. They only said, like, this is a pre-evolution. I'm going to go ahead and guess a 9 again. Yep, alright, cool. And at this point, we've basically confirmed, like, most of the reverse holos out of this set were in pretty good condition and were basically coming back as 9s. Here's a Quilava. In case you're curious, here is his head, because I couldn't for the life of me identify where the body of this Pokemon was. I thought this was a misprinted card at first, but the Quilava's head is right over here. This is his butt or something of that nature. And I guess he like farted and it exploded the rock. So in case you're curious about how I choose to describe my Pokemon cards, there's a brief look into what goes on. But, identified the Pokemon, found his body, thought that was a Geodude. But here we are. PSA 8? A 7. So it's the 3rd time in the series. Oh geez, I should have looked at the back of this card. Alright, I could have told you it was a 7 if I had looked at the back. It's pretty rough corners, but you know what? It's an interesting card, and it's definitely not something you see every day. So I'm just happy it's in the collection. Here's another one of those cards, and this time I will in fact look at the back. The back looks good. I'm guessing a 9. There you go. Okay, and this is the benefit of getting duplicates, because when you have duplicates, at least if one is really rough, you can always get another one that is not as rough. Here's a Bulbasaur, and this Bulbasaur is a worshiper of the sun, as it appears. He has Sleep Seed and Vine Whip, and I'm going to go ahead and guess an 8. A 9, okay. Again, very, very eerily consistent with the way they are grading some of these cards. Here's a Charmander, and if you want any proof of my, random theories on PSA, watch this card get a lower grade. Oh wow, how do you like that? Now, why is that? The back of this card has one little dot right here, but realistically I don't think that merits the grade that it got. I think it could have gotten a 9, but I feel like because it's a Charmander, immediately it becomes a top-notch card to work with. and because of that, they grade a little harsher. Here's a Vulpix. I remember packing this card. This card is really cute for a variety of reasons. I just love the fact that it's like a claymation CGI kind of vibes. And then on top of that, holo foil. Let's go with an 8, a 9. Very cool. Next up, we have an Espeon. Now, here is officially, I think, the end of the Expedition era. Yeah, so this begins the Aquapolis stuff that we have, and there's actually quite a few different varieties of cards here. So first up and foremost is this Espeon reverse foil. I love the little artwork over here, and it ended up getting a 7, an 8. Very nice. All right, friends, and the next is a Blissey. Again, Aquapolis rev foil. Let's go with a 7. Yep, thought so. I don't know why, but sometimes like they'll randomly bring a card back with a 7. I guess they gotta like throw something punitive in there here and there. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. So back in the day, the holos were released in their own numbering scheme. So this is like H3 out of H32. So in Aquapolis, there were 32 holographic cards, this being one of them. So here's the Aridos. Really cool. Like, I know a lot of bug Pokemon really don't end up being fan favorites, but this is one of those cards where I'm like, this is, you know, on merits of artwork, I think this is a good looking card. But let's go ahead and kick it off with the first holographic Aquapolis Pokemon card being a 9. Ooh, an 8. Okay. And you know what? For a holographic, a vintage holographic no less, I do expect as much. Let's take a look at the back super quickly. There's a little ding there. It looks like the predominant portion of what was wrong with that card was actually on the front, though. Here's an Azumarill. And this Azumarill. So a couple things with this card. One, you can see a big swirl right there. Collectors will usually seek out cards like that because they do add a little bit of value. This card was also a darling of the coronavirus, and that's something that I've been saying recently. Basically means there has been a huge spike in demand for this card, predominantly driven by what impacts the coronavirus had on the entire collectibles market. That said, I'm going to go ahead and guess a 4. Okay, a 6. Now, let's take a look at this card. Part of the reason that I guess so low is because it's a darling. And I, being the conspiracy theorist that I am, insist on making asinine claims that I can't prove other than saying, well, just look at the evidence. In this particular case, there are some rough spots, right? Predominantly where this thumb is and where this finger is, I can see the whitening causing like a PSA 8 type of vibe, perhaps a PSA 7. But a 6 I think is just a bit punitive, and I feel like, again, because this card spiked in value, they grade it harder, which is a weird statement to make without any proof, but I'm sure if you you know, if you went out to like any of the Facebook groups or anything like that, people would agree. Now here's an interesting one. It's one of the first cards I have that I have it in holo, I don't have it in reverse holo. Here's a Blossom, and it's Swirl City up in this one, baby. So right over there, you got a nice swirl dead center. It looks like Blossom's like holding it in its hand, which is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and guess an 8. Nice. Nice. There's that swirl right there, dead center. So really good looking card. And I'm happy, you know. I don't think I'm going to get a 9 at any point here, but it's nice to know I at least got an 8. Here is a Blissey, and I believe there are dupes of this. Just Blissey looking out the bush. This one got a 7. Okay, let's see what the next one ends up getting. I'm very curious about that. The second one, I'm going to go ahead and guess an 8. Yeah, sounds about right. Again, like, I know I like to throw my conspiracy theories at PSA, like, oh my god, they're like rigging the election. But I think what it realistically is too is the way that the cards are kept. Because if you notice, there has been a significant and pretty consistent theme across like all of the revs and all of the holos. We've moved into the Aquapolis position, and it looks like for the most part, these cards, wherever they came from, were kept in a consistent pattern with like PSA 7 or 8. That said, I'm going to go ahead and guess a 7. Wow, this is a 9. So hold up real quick. A PSA 9 of this card could realistically square up at like 200, 220. It depends on the day. I feel like this card is one of those cards where because of the artwork and the holographic, it's a, you know, it's a good looking card. It's not necessarily the most popular. I could think of many other Aquapolis cards that have sold for far more money as a PSA 9, but for the right person, you know, this could be the card for them. Next up, we have a Jumpluff. This is one of those cards that was also very popular. And I'm trying to get some holo pattern. Yeah, you can see it kind of freckling down at the bottom there. This is the Holo H13, and it got a gem mint, oh my goodness, a near mint 8. I literally went from mint to gem mint, like I missed every other grade except the one. Here we have a Kingdra. This is H14. Nothing particularly amazing about this card. I remember like interrogating it because I was hoping there was a swirl somewhere in there, and you can kind of see from the light freckling across. There's a lot of freckling, but there's not, I unfortunately missed the swirl by some portion. I do love this card though, because I think it's so cool how it's coming across the bottom, and then it also looks like it has some like ancient ruins in the back. Let's go and guess a 8 for this. This is a 7, of course. And this Kingdra is actually one of those cards that doesn't sell frequently enough that I was able to get price data for, so I'm just kind of making my own guesstimations based on how things played out. Here is a Magneton, and I'm going to go ahead and guess a 9, and I'll tell you why I'm going to guess a 9. Part of the reason is because the Pokemon pattern versus anything else is so minuscule. The other reason is it's such a dark card. As I've mentioned previously, this is one of those Pokemon cards where, because it was a steel type, they were still kind of figuring out the color gradient they wanted to go with, and in my opinion, this is a different color gray than Expedition, and Expedition was definitely different than Neo Genesis. So they were still kind of playing around with what steel types would end up looking like, and because of that, it may actually be hard to identify anything. So I'm going to go with a 9, and yeah, it's just one of those things, like you have a weird suspicion, but this just goes to show that sometimes there is a high level of user error that could possibly open itself up to exploitation when you do submit Pokemon cards of a particular variety. And here, friends, is one of my favorite Pokemon cards coming out of this entire set. This is going to be our 80th Pokemon card. It is a Ninetales holographic, and I am literally in love with this card for a variety of reasons, but just look at those 2 Ninetales playing. It's an amazing card. I don't know if you could find a better one. And if you notice, you have 2 Ninetales, very little holo foil. Now, I'm going to also cover that grade up as best I can and take a look at the back. The issue with the back of this card, you can see it right there. Boom, 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 and boom. So each of the 4 corners got dinged, and I know for a fact those are very visible, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess a PSA 5, PSA 7. Okay, all right, all things considered, I'm very happy with that grade. I will say this: if you were to hit me up and ask me like, oh hey Ryan, is this card still for sale, I'd probably be like, no, this card is currently in my collection. This is one of those cards I would probably shamelessly add to my collection. I think it's such a pretty card. However, if I had a chance to buy it as a 10, I'd probably also take that in a heartbeat. But that said, friends, there is another 20 PSA graded Pokemon returns. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget that everything I've shown here today, as well as everything that I've shown in the past 3 videos, is also in some way, shape, or form up for sale, trade, etc., etc. So if you are interested, feel free to reach out. by any of the avenues that I have displayed down below in the description if you'd like to add some or any portion of this to your collection. That said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did like it, feel free to leave a like or comment, and if you think I've earned your subscription, you can also feel free to do that. It's a great way to help me grow as a channel and also to stay abreast of new Pokemon openings as they come out. So with that said, friends, thanks again for checking out today's video. Stay cool, hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you real soon. Peace.